All right, Wayne Allyn Root with Bill O'Reilly. And by the way, you can always find more of the wisdom and insights of Bill O'Reilly at BillO'Reilly.com. And of course, go get his latest best-selling book. Bill is like a best-selling book machine. The United States of Trump. It's a great book. I started it. I'm about halfway through, and I'm getting on an airplane to fly to Miami to give a speech on Friday. So I'm going to finish the book on the airplane flight on Friday, and I can't wait to read the whole second half. So, Bill O'Reilly, great to have you with us.
Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate it.
So even I'm confused. I feel like I'm at Wimbledon, and my head is swiveling back and forth as they hit volleys at each other. It's Arthur Ashe against Jimmy Connors. It's in this case, it's politics. It's President Trump against the court system and all these nasty Democrats who demand his tax returns. 1 minute he wins, and then he loses, and then there's a stay, and then he doesn't have to turn over his tax returns, and then a new judge says he loses. Where's this all going to end up? It's very confusing.
Well, the Manhattan DA, Cyrus Vance, wants the Trump tax returns because there's an investigation into his business practices. That's where you start. It's all Democrats in that office, and in New York State, it's being driven by the Attorney General in New York. They don't have any charges. Nothing's been filed. They're just investigating. So Donald Trump says, look, as a private citizen, you don't have the right to go in and look at my tax returns. And as a president, the state of New York doesn't have the authority to order a president to turn over anything personal. I think Mr. Trump will prevail in the end, but it might go to the Supreme Court.
Just as, if I'm not mistaken, he's prevailed in California, correct? They can't keep him off the ballot. It's not right for one state to determine something for a guy running for president when it's not determined. There's no rule or law on the federal level that you have to show your tax returns. So how could one state demand it, I guess, is the thinking, right?
Well, the thinking is this. If you have a president of the United States, and there are 50 states, and 20 of those states don't like the president, they can conjure up anything to punish the man. They can sue him for anything, right? So you couldn't have a president govern because 20 states are going to find something to sue him for. So the federal apparatus basically says you can't, as a state, intrude on a sitting president. And that's the precedent that I think will be honored by the Supreme Court.
All right. And doesn't this remind you, Bill O'Reilly, exactly of what's happening to President Trump on the federal level with whistleblowers? How can you have a president who talks on the phone to world leaders and every phone call is being listened to by someone who, if I'm not mistaken, that makes them a spy? They should go to jail. And then they report on it and call themselves a whistleblower. Now a second one came forward. What's to stop a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth? All of them defended by lawyers for the DNC and the Clintons and the Democratic Party to try and undo Trump's 2016 election.
I think the folks have it. When the first whistleblower detoured into Adam Schiff's office, that was the end of his credibility. I think you'll have probably 10 whistleblowers come out, the same scenario you just laid out. They all hate Trump. The lawyers say, yeah, come on in. Well, we'll add your name to the list. This is what happened to Kavanaugh, remember? You had one woman and you had three women and look, this is the country we live in. The folks have it. And with the impeachment, it's very simple. You either say the president of the United States has a right to investigate corruption, and that's what Donald Trump says he was doing with Ukraine, or he doesn't have the right to investigate corruption. One of the two. And I think the investigate corruption wins that argument all day long, so I don't think Donald Trump's going to be removed. And I just wrote a column entitled The Gamble. And I know this to be true. Donald Trump believes this impeachment is going to get him reelected. And I lay all of that out in the column on BillO'Reilly.com.
I enjoyed Rudy Giuliani's response yesterday when he said, someone said to him, one of the talking heads on TV said, well, you can't go after a guy who's running against you for president because that means you're trying to affect the election. And he said, you mean if a guy ran against Trump for president and he committed murder, they have no right to investigate the murder? I thought that was a really good response. You mean because I'm running against Trump, you can't ask anyone to investigate me?
Listen, I talked to Donald Trump about this more than 3 years ago. And it's in the United States of Trump. I didn't know Ukraine was going to be an issue or anything like that. Donald Trump firmly believes in his heart that Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Hillary Clinton did unethical, perhaps illegal things in the campaign of 2016. Right. And he is furious to this day, and he's going to uncover it. And that's what it's all about. Now, the man told me this more than 3 years ago. So I think I'm in a pretty good position to report honestly on this subject.
Now, a report came out over the weekend, and I've got a newspaper column that comes out on Thursday, and I just wrote it minutes ago before our interview. And I said, I don't think this has anything to do with Biden. I think Biden's the tip of the iceberg. I think it's the Clinton Foundation, and that's why they're all so hysterical and so desperate to stop Trump. The Clinton Foundation's #1 country of contributions in the world is Ukraine, bigger than China, Germany, UK. Now, there's got to be, where there's smoke, there's got to be fire, Bill.
Well, they certainly don't want an investigation into Ukraine and the 2016 election. The Democrats and the far left do not want that. But to be honest, there is collateral damage to Joe Biden. And Trump knows that. Biden been hurt by that soundbite where he said, that son of a bitch was fired. You know, Americans really don't like crony capitalism. You know, your son is vacuuming up, millions of dollars when he's not qualified to get anything because you're VP. That's hurting Biden. And it'll be interesting to see a week from tomorrow in the debate if any of the New York Times or CNN moderators, they have to ask him, Wayne. They have to. Now, are they going to follow up? No. And Biden will have his written response, but they've got to ask him about it.
Yeah, based on everything I've read and the fact he got kicked out of the Navy, Hunter Biden was vacuuming up more than just money. That's all I'll say. And it's pretty funny because after you get in trouble for drug use, who then gets hired 2 months later by a foreign country's top gas company and paid $50,000 a month? It just smells very, very bad if you have any common sense. We got to run. Time is up, but we always value our time with the great Bill O'Reilly, and the wisdom is always at BillO'Reilly.com. Get more there and grab a copy of his book, highly recommended by Wayne Allyn, The United States of Trump, by my great friend Bill O'Reilly. Thanks, Bill.
All right, Wayne. See you soon.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest-growing news channel. Newsmax TV is now available for free on your smartphone. Just go to your iPhone or Android store and download the free Newsmax TV app. Then you can watch free TV news with an American spin anytime, anywhere in the world. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.